Week 3 waiver wire.
Let's do it. Let's start with the running backs.
Sure.
How about the resurgence of Raheem Mostert?
Raheem must start. We want a part of that Dolphins offense, obviously. Seemed like there was kind of a little bit of a changing of the guard. It's a weird one. I'm still not ready to throw the dirt on Chase Edmonds, I believe, but 11 carries, 3 targets in week number 2, which is significantly more than Edmonds. He played 5 more snaps than Chase Edmonds, even in a game in which they were trailing. Look, Mostert has a history, obviously, with Mike McDaniel from the time together in San Francisco. The question with Mostert has never been talent. It's always been health. Well, he's currently healthy, and you want, obviously, as much a piece of that Dolphins offense as you can get. Most of it's already rostered in your league, but Raheem Mostert is out there in 57% of Yahoo leagues. Go get yourself some Raheem Mostert, who even in a part-time role, sharing, I think this is a high-octane enough offense that Mostert is very much flex-worthy along with Chase Edmonds and probably going to get the goal line work.
Yeah, it feels like Mike McDaniel's Coach of the Year mission is play everybody that runs in the 4-2s and 4-3s.
I mean, dude,
it's a ridiculously fast offense.
It is a very fast offense, right? The four verts offense is a real thing.
Yeah, bomb over and over again for the Dolphins as long as Tua could throw it. Cardinals, 2 running backs kind of entering the mix here. Benjamin, he is available in 89% of leagues, and Darrel Williams available in 96% of leagues. They are facing the Rams this week, and obviously we are bringing them up because James Conner avoided serious ankle injury, but still obviously banged up on this.
Yeah, left the game early. If he'd stayed in the game, then I'd probably beat Alexa. You know what I mean? That's how Alexa beat me is, whatever. Some of my players got injured. It's a cheap win. It's a cheap win. It's nothing she should be proud of bragging about on national television, but here's where we are. I prefer, of these 2 running backs, I prefer Darrel Williams. Right? Yes, he was inactive in week 1, but he played 3 more snaps than Benjamin post Conner being walking out. He also got the goal line stuff. I just think he's got the better chance at filling the goal line touchdown role of James Conner than Benjamin is. So if I'm picking a Cardinals running back, I prefer Darrel Williams. I think both guys would be involved. Benjamin, both games this year, he's had at least 4 targets. He's had over 50 yards from scrimmage, and so I don't know. I think those are both guys. We think it's, despite what we've seen so far, we still think it's still a pretty good offense that'll probably have to lean a little bit more on its running game here. But if you're asking me to rank them, I prefer Williams to Benjamin if you're looking in the Cardinals' backfield. And certainly given Conner's injury history over his career, probably an important add if you have Conner in your league.
Yeah, it feels like Benjamin filling that pass-catching role. Darrel Williams, though, filling the actual running back role, and that would be huge in that offense. All right, moving over to Chicago, who we talked a lot about yesterday. You liked Khalil Herbert a lot this summer, and here's the thing with Khalil Herbert. When they've handed him the ball, he's been productive with his touches, available in 52% of leagues. Is he a guy you consider picking up?
Yeah, I mean, look, Montgomery got the majority of the touches on Sunday night. But to your point about Khalil Herbert, he got 2 starts last year for Montgomery, averaged 18.8 fantasy points per game. He's had over 40 yards from scrimmage in both games this year. Nothing I've seen on the field tells me that Khalil Herbert is not a good player. They've been going with Montgomery, but that offense has a lot of question marks. They've got to figure it out. And so Montgomery, who has been banged up in his career, I think Herbert's more of a stash for the rest of the season. Just a high upside stash. I don't know that you're using him. I don't know that you're using any running back against any piece of the Bears offense at the moment. But if you were truly desperate in a deeper league, Herbert's probably rostered. But if not, I will say you can run against Houston. I mean, we saw Denver last week. I mean, Javonte Williams just sort of had his way. And so given the struggles of Justin Fields in that passing offense, could the Bears go run heavy this week against the Texans? Maybe. And so deeper league, flex desperation, maybe Herbert works in there. But I think he's more of a high upside stash because if he ever got the job, we expect good things.
All right, looking at Atlanta, Damian Williams on IR kind of opened the door for rookie day 3 pick Tyler Algier, available in 86% of leagues. Only 3 points this week, but 10 rushes, 30 yards, obviously tied for the team lead with those 10 carries. Saw both goal-to-go carries. Does that intrigue you at all in an Atlanta offense that we have our complaints about?
Yeah, we do. Free Kyle Pitts. But they don't want Cordarrelle Patterson touching the ball 20 times a game. They like him a lot, but on the other side of 30, they want to pick their spots with Patterson. And the usage he had in week 1 when Algier was out and Damian Williams left that game early, they don't want that normally. That was a circumstantial thing where it's just okay, Patterson's the only guy, and they were actually up in that game against the Saints for much of it. So I do think Algier, especially in a game, Falcons are 0-2.
Yep.
Cordarrelle Patterson, who I believe is 31 at this point, maybe 32, but he's definitely at least 31. Patterson's not their future. Algier possibly is. So they need to see what they have in Tyler Algier. So I do think he's somebody that will get some run this week against Seattle, a Seahawks team that you absolutely can run on, that we've seen through 2 games here. So if I need somebody this week, I'd actually put him ahead of Khalil Herbert, because I think he gets some run this week. But there's also some upside there. It's not a great offense, but yes, there's opportunity there when really right now at the moment it's only Cordarrelle Patterson in his way for significant playing time, and we think Algier's on the field somewhat this week.
All right, in New Orleans, no Alvin Kamara in week 2, out with the ribs injury. Mark Ingram's been banged up, but we know when Kamara doesn't play, and Ingram does, who's available in 70% of leagues, he's usually pretty productive. He had 10 rushes for 60 yards, 2 catches for 3 yards against Tampa Bay. That's not easy.
That's not easy.
That's a good sign.
He had a bad fumble, but other than that, I thought he was one of the few bright spots of the Saints offense that's here. He saw 63% of New Orleans' running back carries in week 2. You saw some Tony Jones there, and you saw a couple of guys there. But honestly, I do think if Alvin Kamara is to miss another week, you would like Mark Ingram this week at Carolina.
That's the key.
I mean, again, Carolina shut down Saquon last week. Mm-hmm. So it's not as much of a pushover as you might think. But I do believe Ingram's going to get enough work to be certainly flex viable and borderline running back 2. If they get in close, they're likely going to give it to Mark Ingram to punch it in as well.
All right, the always interesting 49ers backfield. 3rd-round pick Ty Davis Price is now out multiple weeks with an ankle injury. Obviously, Jeff Wilson is the starter there, but he's missed a lot of time in the past.
Since 2020, he's missed 12 games. He's played 10 or more games only once in his NFL career. Elijah Mitchell's out for 2 months. So Jordan Mason is the next man up. Again, at the moment, Jeff Wilson Jr. is healthy. But given his history and the fact that Shanahan does like to use multiple running backs, Jordan Mason is suddenly somebody that has some value now, but easily could have a lot of value here in a couple of weeks. We certainly don't wish or want to predict injury for Jeff Wilson Jr., but when you miss 12 games since 2020, it's something to point out here. With Jimmy Garoppolo under center, the 49ers are going to be a much more traditional offense, basically what we saw last year, which is they want Jimmy Garoppolo to be a game manager.
That's it.
That's what, which is fine. Execute the offense, set up play action, run the ball, control the clock, play good defense, and hit the passes that you need to. But this isn't going to be like a wide open offense under Jimmy G. It's going to be a run heavy, conservative offense, which gives value obviously to Jeff Wilson Jr., but I think Jordan Mason, now that TDP is out, as well as Elijah Mitchell.
Available in 95% of leagues. San Francisco travels to Denver in week 3. One offense just absolutely struggling right now, the Colts. We know all about that. Raheem Hines, though, was drafted by a lot of people to be that pass-catching running back, obviously effective in PPR. He only had 5 touches last week despite Michael Pittman being out. We know the Colts offense could not get anything. They haven't scored in 6 of the 8 quarters they played and didn't score in overtime.
Yeah, if you dropped Nyheim, I'll put it this way. I'm not advocating to drop Nyheim Hines. I still sort of believe it. But I will say this. I think the upside there is limited. It's Jonathan Taylor. Again, as we've talked about at the top of the show, will there be a couple of good, good Isaiah McKenzie good games or, yes. But just knowing when those come, it's going to be hard to say with Nyheim Hines. He hasn't been involved in the passing game as much as we were led to believe in the preseason here. Let's see what this offense looks like when they get Michael Pittman back. That was a tough game at Jacksonville, obviously. But in a game in which they couldn't get anything generated, they still couldn't get the ball to Nyheim Hines, just 4 receptions, and that one. Playing the Chiefs, you can throw on the Chiefs. I do think, given how good the Chiefs' defensive line is, I could see some quick dump-offs to Nyheim Hines. All that said, because of the limited upside of Hines, if I'm in a league and you drop Nyheim Hines, I'm not rushing the waiver wire to try and grab him. So I think you're okay. I'm not advocating dropping him, but if you need a roster spot and he's sitting there, I don't mind it. We always want to give some advice of who do you drop, to pick up all the guys we just recommend. I don't mind Hines, who's rostered in about 70% of leagues. I don't mind letting him go.
The Colts at home against Kansas City. They are touchdown underdogs after their 0-2 start. Not great in Indianapolis.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.